Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're at week 13, set 2, SWYK number 1. Starting out with very easy questions, just like I talked about before. Setting each one of these equal to 0 and solving them yields those 3 zeros. Nothing unusual there about that information. Question 2. We're getting into using the leading term to determine the end behavior and then the graph using multiple choice. You're going to notice that the lead term, negative x to the 6th, tells you that the left or the right end behavior has to be down because of the leading coefficient being negative, and since it's an even degree, that means the left has to be the same. So both are going down. Now that obviously led me to the answer right away, but just for kicks and giggles, I decided I would pull out a negative x to the 4th. That little trick of pulling a negative x to the 4th out gave me x squared minus 1, which just happens to have two factors, x plus 1 and x minus 1. So I made this little chart. I know this is extra, but I do want you to kind of get this in your mind. You set the factors equal to 0, which gives me 0, negative 1, and positive 1, and then we can see that the multiplicities 4, well, that's going to be the bounce off the axis, and these two are going to cut through because they're odd multiplicities, which matches, right? You can see the bounce right there in the middle, and then it goes through at 1 and negative 1. So just added benefit to knowing that I'm right about the question. Okay, so yes, I'm doing more on some of these questions than you need, but it helps me to emphasize what's going on. Leading term, x cubed. Right end behavior has to be up because the leading coefficient is positive 1. Odd degree, left has to be down. All right, now out of their answer choices, that definitely leads me to answer choice A. But just like I did before, GCF of x squared, I pulled it out. And that left me with x minus 3. So my zeros were at 0 itself and at 3. 0, yeah, that one gave me a multiplicity of 2 because it occurs as a factor twice. X minus 3 only occurs once. Our bounce is going to occur there at 0, which you can see in the graph is true. It bounces at 0 and cuts through the axis at 3. So all of that makes sense and matches. Question 4. See, I'm just doing a bunch of these to make sure you guys really understand what's going on. This one, now the leading term is x to the 4th. Without writing out 4 of those x minus 6's, I don't really feel like I need to. I get x to the 4th. The leading coefficient is positive 1, so that means the right end behavior is up. The even degree tells me that the left is the same. Okay, so that does, I got rid of this choice and this choice and this choice. So we really did have down to the letter C. Since we had a only 1 0, we can only touch the axis one place, and it has a multiplicity of 4, so it must be bouncing off the axis, which you can see in this picture that it is. Moving on to question 5. Leading term here. See, and now in this one, it's not in factored form. Okay, and that's we haven't talked about what to do when it's something like x to the 5th. Okay, so we would strictly have to use the end behavior to be able to identify this. We couldn't use the zeros to confirm that unless we knew some other techniques, which we will talk about later next week. So anyway, we're going to take that the negative 1 for the leading coefficient. It tells me the right end behavior is down. The odd degree tells me that the left is up. Odd degree meaning it's a 5th degree. So that limited me to the correct picture. Man, they haven't made these multiple choice ones very tough. Because this one is the only one that has down on the right and up on the left. Making it too easy on you, 2x to the 7th, so we're not given a picture here. We just got to use our brain. Positive 2 is the leading coefficient, which means that the right end behavior is up. Odd degree of 7 means the left has to be opposite, and the only one that matches that, you'll see that I crossed off ones that were not matching, but I do see falls on the left and rises on the right. Okay, it's another way to do, like my arrows. Question 7. The leading coefficient is positive 5. So the right end behavior goes up. The even degree means the left has to be the same. So we are going up on the left and going up on the right. So it has to be answer choice B. Question 8, using the leading coefficient test. Well, this would be x, let's see here, x times x times x squared. X times x times x squared, that's x to the fourth. Leading coefficient is positive 1, so the right-hand behavior has to go up. Even degree means the left has to be the same. Yeah, we could draw a picture of this because it's in factored form, right? We know that we have an x-intercept there at 2. Here, let me pause it. Once we get our x-intercepts at 1, 2, and 5, we attach the end behavior, right? We're up on the right, up on the left, okay? We did have a ricochet or a bounce happening because x minus 1 that's got an even multiplicity. So it's bouncing, coming up, coming through, and coming through. That's the basic shape, which matches letter B. Rises to the left, rises to the right. Just thought we'd look at the picture because we could. Question 9, and we might speed this up because we are trying to keep this reasonably short. I think we've drawn enough pictures between yesterday or the last SWYK and this one. So if we take negative 5 times x squared, negative 5 times x squared times x squared, we end up with negative 5x to the fourth. So the right, since we have a negative, the right-hand behavior is down. Even degree left is the same as the right. And that goes with letter choice D. We could graph that, but like I said, we've been doing enough of that. Plus that one's got some weird ones right here. We would end up with radicals, which I don't want to get into right now. We'll do that some other time. I don't know why they have this extra plus sign in there. Just maybe, felt like doing it, I guess. Either that or somebody made a mistake somewhere. So we have negative x squared times x, and negative x squared times x gives me negative x to the fourth. The right side has to be down because because the negative 1 coefficient. Then we have an even degree, which means the left has to be the same. So it's falling on the left and the right side. This one wouldn't be too hard to draw. We had 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The end behavior attached to the graph would go like that. We have a bounce occurring at 0, so it cuts through, bounces, and then cuts through again. So that's the basic shape of the graph. And I think that's it for this particular SWYK. Thank you for watching.